Hey friends, happy almost eclipse. We're here in full-blown eclipse season. The eclipse season actually opened up at the new moon in Pisces a couple of weeks ago. And for those of you that are feeling the eclipse or will feel the eclipse, it's already been in motion. So last year we experienced our first Aries eclipse in the spring and then our Libra eclipse in the fall. And the eclipse that's happening at 3 a.m. is happening on our full moon in Libra, and it's a penumbral lunar eclipse. So the earth will cast a shadow across the full moon, and it's only a little bit. It's going to darken the full moon a little bit. And what usually happens with lunar eclipses is they're more internal and more emotional. And eclipses always either happen near the north node or near the south node. And the north node is where our collective destiny is, and our south node is where we're coming from and what we're releasing, is a very simple way to think about it. And this full moon eclipse is happening near the south node in Libra. And what I'm really feeling about this eclipse is a really easy way to interpret it without going deep is to be, we will release relationships that no longer serve, or, breakups will happen. And maybe those things will happen, but I feel it as more of an internal release of the way we have been doing relationships and releasing any stories that we've been telling ourselves about relationships that will stop us from moving forward. I see this as a very positive thing. And it's not going to affect everyone the same way. So first off, eclipses will definitely affect you if you are a moon child, meaning if your ascendant is Cancer, your moon is Cancer, or your sun is Cancer, you are very sensitive to the moon more than any of the other signs. And because eclipses always have to do with the sun and the moon, they're going to affect you. Same with Leo. If you have a Leo ascendant, a Leo sun, or a Leo moon, eclipses are always going to affect you because the sun is very involved with eclipses. So that's one way to know if you're going to be really sensitive to it. Another way is this eclipse is happening at 5 degrees of Libra. So if you have planets, I would say between 3 and 7 degrees of Libra, Aries, Capricorn, or Cancer, you're going to feel it, but especially Libra. And if you have any important points in any of those degrees, again, from like 3 to 7. Now, if you don't fall into any of those categories, it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the eclipse, but it may be more subtle and it may play out over a year and a half. Often with eclipses, you can feel things changing and you can see the topics that are going to be brought up and are being worked on, but until you have hindsight, you're really not going to understand how impactful they were on your life. So some keywords for eclipses are great beginnings and great endings. And you can look back to, I wrote down the date, around April 20th of 2023. That was when the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle started. So we had our first eclipse in Aries at 29 degrees. And then on October 14th of 2023, we had an eclipse in Libra at 21 degrees. So you could look back to those times and just see what was brought up for you around those times, but also look in your chart and see what house Libra and Aries is for you. And you'll know the topics that you'll have great beginnings and great endings with. Now, back to the full moon lunar eclipse that's happening at 3 a.m. tonight. I feel like it's really setting us up for the big solar eclipse that we're going to have on April 8th. And I live in Vermont, and the path of the solar eclipse is actually going to go right through the center of our state. We're going to have tons of tourists. It's going to be fun. But an interesting fact is the full moon eclipse, like we're having at 3 a.m. tonight, anywhere where it's night tonight, you would be able to see it. The solar eclipse, you only can see it if you're literally in the path of the sun, which I think is really cool. But I'll talk more about the solar eclipse in a different video. But that's happening on April 8th. And these two eclipses are working together. So again, the full moon lunar eclipse is more emotional, internal. It's near our south node. We're releasing something that has to do with our relationship with ourselves, our attachments to the way we think relationships should be, anything we were holding on to that was stopping our relationships from moving forward. Could it mean breakups? Yes. Could it just mean you're finally letting go of something you've been holding on to that you've been holding back, that's been holding you back in relationships? Yes. It will mean something different for everyone. The ruler of tonight's full moon eclipse is Venus, and Venus is in Pisces right now, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. She loves to be in Pisces. It is normally one of the most beautiful times for Venus, but she actually was just conjunct with Saturn, which is a huge reality check for her. And it was interesting that this happened just a few days ago, right before the eclipse in Libra, because it probably made you look at the reality of your relationships, whether it's with yourself or with others. So all of this is working beautifully together. Venus is moving towards a conjunction with Neptune, and she actually is sextiling Jupiter and Taurus, which is a really beautiful aspect. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else I want to say. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this short. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is last time there was an eclipse in Libra was, I wrote this down, March, hold on a second. I thought I wrote it down, but there was an eclipse in Libra, I believe in, bear with me, this is important. Oh yeah, so there was a penumbral lunar eclipse all the way back in March 23rd, 2016, and it was at 3 Libra, which is only a couple degrees of where it is now. And I find it really interesting because, like I said, hindsight is so important with eclipses. And for me, Libra is my 4th house of home and family. And in 2016 was when my husband at the time and my 2 children and I moved to Vermont. So literally it was a new beginning. And at that time, during the Libra eclipse, it was in the North Node. The North Node was in Libra. And so now it's the opposite, right? So now the South Node is in Libra. So what am I releasing in my home and in my family? And I have some ideas, but again, I think I'm going to need a little time. But this is just to give you an example of what to expect from eclipses. And finally, what I would like to leave you with is I personally do not suggest working like you normally do with the moon cycles, when you set intentions with a new moon and release with the full moon during eclipses, because my personal opinion is eclipses are like trying to control a huge ocean wave. You can ride it, you can control how malleable you are and how you react to the changes and the surprises, but you can't control it. And I feel like it's a waste of energy to control it. And in fact, I think one of the best ways to work with the energy of the eclipses is to really just let go and be and try to be present. It's a really great time to journal, if only for the reason that you can look back in a few months and really remember what was going on. So happy eclipse season. I'll come on again. I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. And I do personal readings, so PM me or email me if you would like to schedule yours. Take care.